Hello, everyone. I'm going to take a moment to just honor myself. I do this always on stage, and I invite you to as well, if you choose to. Human trafficking is a horrible, horrible thing. I can't even fathom being in the mindset of someone who chooses to do that. However, fortunate for me, I'm someone who's in the mindset that chooses to help heal those. I've studied human biology for over 20 years, which basically means I'm really geeky and know a bunch of stuff about the body. I developed an autoimmune disease about 7 years ago, and an extreme liver disease where I was bedridden. They wanted to give me a new liver, and I said, no way, I'm going to heal myself. I know enough about the body, and I'm going to do it naturally. 6 years later, I was 90% healed. Really cool. However, until I started studying, researching, and understanding the essence of spirituality and then practicing it, that's when I healed 100%, almost instantly. And what that taught me, that science and spirituality, they need each other. They work together. Our entire human existence is because science and spirit work together. In all the laws of the universe, I just want to point out that there is no law of exclusion. And what I mean by that is we are taught to speak about things we don't want. I don't want to be broke. I don't want to be fat. I don't want to be sick. And what happens is those words alone have a vibration that manifests because the smallest compound in the human world is an atom. And it's neutral, completely neutral until you influence it with energy. And that influence, it becomes molecules and then things. So words have that power. And when you say, I don't want to be broke, all your mind in the world, the universe hears, is that you want to be broke. Because it doesn't hear that you don't want that. So instead, I now choose to speak about what I want. And we all should choose to speak more about what we want. So the point here is, instead of talking about fighting human trafficking and going against it, let's talk about what we do want. Let's talk about healing the hearts of humankind. I'd love to bring up a dear friend of mine who is all heart and incredible story that's going to bring emotions to all of you, so be ready. Please, I'd love to welcome dear Paul Hutchinson.
To motivate yourself to do the right thing long enough, you're going to realize the right reason to be doing it. And the right reason is not things, it's making a difference.
There are certain people in life that they come to the room and lights go dim, yes or no? There's some people that come to the room and everything brightens up. This is one of those guys.
Paul is well known not only for running a $14 billion plus real estate fund, and not only for his tremendous philanthropic efforts globally to raise tens of millions of dollars in this fight against human trafficking and modern slavery, but Paul also has a very special set of skills that he uses and puts his life on the line on every single operation where he goes undercover. He leads a group of brave men and women who sacrifice and risk everything, their lives, their capital, their reputations, to infiltrate the most heinous, disgusting trafficking networks. These are some of the most dangerous environments around the world. a philanthropist, business leader by day, but at night, one of the most effective weapons that we have as a global community.
Whether your passion is in solving hunger or saving the trees or whatever it is, find something you're passionate about. For me, the truly is there's nothing that every single person of any race, any religion can't get behind, like saving children for something in this world. So thank you, friends.
Thank you. I'm incredibly humbled to be here today with this group of people. You guys are healers, you're entrepreneurs with a vision to make the world a better place. About 10 years ago, I got a phone call from our Attorney General. He said, Paul, he said, I know you've donated millions of dollars to child-related charities. He said, I need to talk to you about something that's really dark. He said, it's the fastest growing criminal enterprise in the world, and good people don't know that it's even happening. He said, there's more today, and I'm not talking about just children that are being abused at home, which we'll talk about in a second. I'm talking sold human beings. There's more today than all 300 years of the transatlantic slave trade put together. He said there's a Homeland Security agent who's in Cartagena, Colombia. He found 20 children that are being sold for sex. He said he needs $50,000 to rescue those children. The government wouldn't give him the money to do it. This story that I'm telling you right now is coming out July 4th. The Sound of Freedom movie, Jim Caviezel, he played Jesus, Passion of the Christ, Count of Monte Cristo. He plays the part of the Homeland Security agent. The actor who plays me is the producer of the film, Eduardo Verástegui. And it wasn't funding that mission that changed my life. What changed my life is a week after I wrote that check, he called me and he said, Paul, there's not just 20 children here, there's more than 50 in Cartagena and more than 100 children in the surrounding areas. He said, we could rescue all 100 children at the same time, at the same day. He said, but I need your help on a big scale. And I said, well, how much do you need? He said, I need you. Can you be in Colombia in 2 days? 2 days later, I'm face to face with the most evil people I could ever imagine. I'm like, this is really happening. We negotiated this deal that ended up being the largest child rescue mission in one day in history, 127 children. The thing that changed my life forever is when the traffickers brought these children in. We're sitting at this table. We have the children in a separate place of the house because they're already traumatized enough. We don't want them seeing the guns and the money changing hands, etc. And one of the traffickers gets up and he said, Pablo, I have to show you the gifts that I brought you. And he went in the house where the children were. And we could hear crying from multiple children. About 10 minutes later, he comes out with 4 virgins. Scared to death. There's this little 11-year-old boy. They gave him cocaine that morning because he was so scared it was going to hurt. What kind of fucked up monster thinks that that's attractive? Every cell in my body wanted to just hug these kids and say, you're going to be fine, you're going to see your parents again. I couldn't say that. They bring out this little 11-year-old girl. I'm sitting on a chair. This little girl standing up is not much taller than I was sitting down. And there was tears her makeup was all smeared from her tears because she was crying. She was so scared of meeting the men who were going to defile her for the first time. I sat there and I said, "Como se llama? What's your name?" She couldn't remember her name. I'm sure it's because her real name wasn't Princess. She was trying to figure out what she was supposed to say. And as I looked in her eyes, and she was scared to death, she looked at me like I was this predator. And I made a commitment to myself, to that little girl, and to God, that I would do everything in my power to eradicate that. Eradicate it from the face of there was nothing more evil that I could possibly imagine. Nothing. At the end of that mission, I'm talking to the Attorney General. I'm like, holy crap, I've spent my whole life making rich people richer. I want to make a difference. I want to write a check. What do you need? And he said, Paul, you have some special skills that a lot of people don't have. He said, but the key is I can't teach my Navy SEALs how to wear a $4,000 suit and a $50,000 watch and negotiate a multi-million-dollar deal. He said, that's what these traffickers are looking for, the Jeffrey Epsteins of the world. He said, and I don't know of any ultra-successful business owners who had the training that you've had. If you're willing to be the bait, I'll change your whole life. Now, at that point, there were roughly 8 million children being sold for stuff like this. 8 million. One child's unacceptable. 8 million is beyond comprehension. And I said, okay, what do you need? He said, if you can play that role, we can put these missions together. Because the Homeland Security agent wanted to go public and have his face out there, so we needed somebody that could lead these missions. And so I said, I'm in. What do you need? Since that time, I have been a part of or led over 70 undercover rescue missions in 15 countries. And through our foundation, we started the Child Liberation Foundation. Through the foundation that we started back then with the Homeland Security agent and others, all of these different foundations that I have helped to start and fund, over 5,000 victims have been recovered back to their families. Now that seems like a huge number. Yay, we're winning. So the end of last year, I just finished a rescue mission. I went deep cover. I wasn't just playing the wealthy buyer anymore. For the last 8 years, I've gone deep cover. 2 in the morning in downtown Port-au-Prince, Haiti, or Mexico City, making friends with these most evil people you can imagine to find out where the kids were being held. Now, I have a book coming out in the next couple months called Are You Listening? Not Are You Listening, but Are You Listening? Every single rescue mission, when we found those children, we weren't following logic and protocol. There's a higher power very interested in us finding those kids. I don't care if you think that God's a man or a woman or a mountain or a cloud. God is not interested in an 8-year-old being sold for that kind of thing. And so it was easy for me to have unwavering conviction, unwavering faith that we would be led, that we would find those kids, that we would be safe. And at the end of last year, I looked at the numbers, and there wasn't 8 million children being sold. There was over 10 million children being sold. So if my goal was to eradicate child trafficking, I wasn't doing a very good job. Because every single time we pulled 20 children out of hell, yes, we're making a powerful impact in the lives of those children. But every single time we pulled them out, because not enough was being done to solve the demand side, we created a vacuum. And another 20, 25, or 30 more children were being sucked into the deepest recesses of hell. So I took a step back and I thought, I've got a lifetime goal here. How do I fix this problem? This is something everybody can get behind. How do I fix this problem? I thought, where is it coming from? And for a while, I thought that the demand side was coming from hardcore pornography addiction, where when somebody takes a woman from a divine feminine to an object, they go down this dark road, and maybe they start looking at rape videos, or younger and younger. Pretty soon they're fantasizing about something they wouldn't have even thought was attractive 5 years ago. But then I realized that even that is a symptom of a deeper problem. Here's the deeper problem. In this room, in this country, in this world, over 25%, 1 out of every 4 women in this room have been a victim of sexual violence as a child. As a child. 40% have been a victim at some point, but a quarter of all women as a child. Now, with men, it's a smaller number. About 20%, 1 out of every 5 men have been a victim at some time in their life. But even that, 25% of them, it happened under the age of 10 years old. That's roughly 200 million men in this world who were raped as a child under 10 years old, most of it in their own home. One of the most dangerous places for a child is in their own home. Now, what's happening here? It's generational abuse. Okay, so many of them, God bless them, they go to a plant medicine journey, they get some healing work that's done, and they're able to be a good husband and a good father and a good mother, and they're able to get rid of that trauma. But unfortunately, there's a lot of them that hold it inside, and they live their lives with this low self-esteem, and they're judging themselves. They're taking what somebody else did to them, defining themselves as a person that's not worthy, as a person that's not full of love and light. They don't realize that literally every single cell of their body is new after a couple years. They're holding on to it emotionally. And so I took a step back and I thought, okay, what if we could help those people heal? People ask me all the time, they say, Paul, how can you go face to face with somebody selling an 8-year-old child and not have them see the anger in your eyes? And my answer surprises them. It's because I love them. Oh, you can't love them. They're selling an 8-year-old. But I love that 8-year-old and the innocence of that child more. But I will tell you this. I realize that if I'm ever judging another human being, whether it's for cutting me off on the freeway, whether it's for selling me a child, if I'm ever judging another human being, there's a 100% chance that I don't have all the facts. I don't know if that guy cutting me off on the freeway, if his daughter's in the hospital, he might just be an asshole. I don't know. But I don't know. That guy selling me a child, I don't know if he was raped as a child. He probably was. And there was probably 1,000 bad things that happened to him and 1,000 bad decisions that got him to the point where he thought that it was okay to sell me a child. Now again, I will do everything in my power to ensure he never hurts innocence again, but I can't judge him. In fact, every time when I was in that situation with these traffickers, I thought, oh, I wish that I had the ability to turn back the clock. 5 years, 10 years, whatever it is, before he ever passed that trauma on to somebody else. If I could catch him there, I could have saved those kids before they were traumatized in the first place. So that brings us to this right here. I've realized that my mission is not rescuing a 10-year-old from the clutches of a trafficker in Honduras. My mission is to rescue the 10-year-old inside of every man and woman who dealt with trauma as a child. This is the team that will eradicate child trafficking. This is the team. You know why? Because every one of you are passionate about changing hearts and changing lives and helping people let go of their trauma. This holistic therapy, this type of healing works. I've seen it. I've seen it with so many people who have dealt with childhood trauma. Now, she gave me the 1 minute sign, so if you could, I'm going to have her play the trailer. Hopefully on July 4th, you can all go watch this movie. Because the sound of freedom is that war cry for all of us to get out, and every one of you figure out how to use your gifts to elevate the consciousness of mankind, to literally transform the world and liberate humanity. So I'll share this video. Thank you very much.
Quizá puedas ayudarme a encontrar a mi hermana.
Imagine walking into a room right now, seeing an empty bed. What will we do?
We're Homeland Security. You know we can't go off rescuing kids in Colombia.
This job tears you to pieces. This is my one chance to put those pieces back together.
We're talking about extracting an 11-year-old girl from an army of rebels.
Not just her. I'm talking about rescuing hundreds of kids.
She could be a block down the road, or she could be in Moscow, Bangkok, LA.
Over 2 million children a year are being sucked into the deepest recesses of hell. If we do nothing, someday it's gonna reach the likes of you. What if this was your daughter? Wherever I go.
Yes, let's send Paul some love. Thank you to the mission, to all that you're doing, to all those out there that are hurting and suffering. Thank you.
I have no idea how to transition from this moment. I have no idea how to do this. It's impossible. Please.
Can we all do an Om 3 times all together?
And I would just ask that as you Om, you see this man in his safety, in his success, on his highest timeline, making his highest impact in the world, and all those that he interacts with on their highest timelines. Let's slowly exhale. Inhale fully. Two more. See it all. You cannot clap loud enough for that man. You cannot scream loud enough, but please try. Please try louder, please. Let him hear it. Let him feel it.